Ladies and gents, PepperBelly here, and I'm taking a look at a new shooter. Technically not new, because it's been on the market for at least a year or two now, and it goes by the name of Warface, developed by Crytek, and you'd think, by their track record, this game would probably should technically be pretty good. And this game's been released in Korea for like a year or two by this point, and it's finally came over to North America not that long ago, and they finally managed to get it on Steam. So, I guess the real question is it even good? And is it even worth downloading and putting time and investing it into this? Because obviously, you look at it, and it's just another generic shooter, except it's like a free-to-play title. And do they do the free-to-play market right? Is it actually good? Is it possible to play this game for free? And is it pay to win? And all these questions that always come up in regard to free-to-play titles. And since it's developed by Crytek, usually those, Crytek, I consider their games to be held to a higher standard, like they're known for their games and their graphics engine and all the things that they produce. So, is Warface any good? Well, the answer is, unfortunately, yes. And I say unfortunately because I want to hate it. I really do. I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of things about this game that just makes me so bothered that it's like, why are you addicting to play? And that is probably what's going to make this game last and survive, like, period. And I mean, the fact that this game is actually one of the top played games on Steam, more so than Ghost Recon Phantoms and Blacklight Retribution, that's pretty significant, especially coming from what this a game looks like, which is just another stereotypical, very mundane shooter. And surprisingly, although it's very simple, very easy, incredibly easy to play, and just offers not that much diversity compared to most shooters, it's surprisingly addicting and fun to play. Like, very surprisingly. Like, I played it initially, I got into a match, I was playing it, and I'm like, first thing I noticed right off the bat is the stupidly obnoxious hit detection marker that pops up on your screen, blinding fucking everything, so you can't see what the hell you're doing. It's absolutely infuriating. It's like this big-ass giant X just appears in the middle of your screen, and it kind of works in the sense that it shows you your damage output, so you can kind of gauge how much damage you're actually dealing to someone by watching the bars fill up. As you can see, the more damage you do, the more bright and vivid and filled the bars look. But still, it's obnoxious, it gets in the way, it's really annoying considering the iron sights are already hard enough to see with. Adding a hit marker that's that ridiculously redundant and just so unnecessary, it makes it all that much more aggravating. And unfortunately, I haven't even found a way how to turn it off or do anything. You go to the gameplay tabs, you look for stuff, you try to figure out how to actually disable this obnoxious hit detection marker, and you can't. I couldn't find it. It's not there. I don't think it's there. If someone knows and someone can comment and tell me how to turn it off, that would be awesome. But as it stands right now, I don't see a way to do it, and I've been trying to find out, and I just put up with it, and eventually we'll get used to it. And having actual weapon sights does help alleviate that whole annoyance, but still, an option to turn it off would be nice. And another thing about this game is the FOV. It's not terrible, but I mean, it's a freaking PC title. This is on PC. You would expect to have an FOV slider somewhere because it's hovering around what you would expect a console game to have, which is annoying. I like having wide FOVs, I like to have enough peripheral vision so when I'm entering a building, I feel like I can cover all angles and see with the corner of my eyes, which would basically be the edges of my screen, in the corners of where people can be hiding, etc. And this just makes it a lot harder. I find myself having to look around a lot more, trying to keep my eyes on things, opposed to just having a wider field of view, giving me a lot more, basically, surface area of view to be able to see what the hell's going on in the environment. So, and also, it's just a motion sickness thing. There's a lot of people out there who suffer from motion sickness due to low FOVs. Being able to actually tweak it, and there probably is a way to tweak it by going into the actual configuration files. I've yet to actually try to do that, so that might be an alternative. That might be a way of doing it, because I know that Crysis 3 had this issue as well. I actually had to go in and tweak the FOV manually by going in the configuration file, which shouldn't even be necessary. That's another thing. We're talking Crysis here. This is a PC title developed by Crytek, who's supposed to be leading platforms, or using the PC as a leading platform, which obviously has changed since they came out with Crysis 2 and Crysis 3, but still, they should at least include those options for PC gamers. It's the bare minimum of a PC title to have those features. But regardless, it's not outrageously impossible to play the game with the FOV. Like I said, I am more than capable of playing this game. It's just having it would be nice, and especially for those people who get easily motion sick or nauseous or whatever. So this game is built on CryEngine, so you would expect the graphics to be insanely impressive, and unfortunately they're not. They're decent. You know, the actual environments look okay, the texture quality is somewhat decent. It's one of the better looking free-to-play games, but it's definitely nothing to brag about. I mean, probably the biggest knocker is the animations. You're looking at the way the characters run around. It has more of a cartoony feel to it than it does an authentic, realistic type of game like you would expect or think of like Arma or most traditional shooters. Like even Call of Duty does that better, you know, animations and the way that soldiers actually look like soldiers. They're not weird, like kind of fat looking dudes and they wobble around the map looking all weird, which is what these guys do. Unfortunately, especially when you see them aiming down sights and they're walking slowly, it looks retarded. It looks really dumb because they're like bouncing and hopping and taking really weird strides while walking slowly. It's pretty much the full run animation slowed down, so it just looks stupid and silly, but you know, whatever. The game, I guess, wasn't trying to go for that serious look, which to me is perfectly fine. I mean, there's a lot of games out there that have a serious look like that, and this obviously isn't going for it, because I mean, if you look at Crysis 3, it has nanosuits, but you look at the animations, the actual characters themselves, and they're very well detailed, and they look real, and they look, you know, feasible, and they look like how actual people would move. And in this game, not so much. But again, I don't think that was their main goal anyway. I mean, the physics are even kind of outrageous. If you shoot a guy with a shotgun point blank, they're gonna do like a backflip on the spot, all ridiculous looking, and it's just not there. So I don't think that was what they had in mind to begin with. I think they just want to kind of make a comical, slightly comical, but authentic, kind of cartoony shooter with the CryEngine, which to me, like I said earlier, is totally acceptable. So I guess the real question to ask is the free-to-play aspect of it. Does it work? Is there like a pay-to-win element to it? Is it, you know, is there any of that kind of thing going on? Is it stable? Is it balanced? As far as I can tell, yes. I mean, you kind of get access to free guns and stuff and equipment by doing various training exercises, so you unlock classes as you go, and the more classes you unlock, you know, like the medic or the engineer, you get a free weapon with it. Like the weapon I'm using right now, it would be a free weapon I acquired that you get for so many, or it's like 24 hours max, which in and of itself isn't too bad. And the standard weapons you get, like the M4 and stuff, which is not even called the M4, I think it's renamed to something else due to like licensing issues, I don't really know. But, you know, they're enough, they're adequate, they can perform well enough to compete. But the later guns do obviously have a significant advantage due to damage output, accuracy, and all those kind of things. But you can acquire them for free, most of them anyway. Some of them you have to rent, which is, to me, should never be a sticking point to a game. There should never be a free-to-play game where you cannot acquire everything for free. Having exclusivity in terms of items is fucking bullshit to me. You should not be allowed to get a specific weapon that could somehow be superior in some way. Doesn't really matter, you know, more damage, less accuracy, more accurate, less damage, whatever the case may be. There should not be a weapon that is forcing you to rent the gun with real money, so you have to go and spend money on the in-game currency that most free-to-play games offer, and then rent it for 7 days max. That is that's like a combat arms move, and combat arms was fucking junk. Okay, like, you do not do that. You let you purchase items for free using in-game currency if you invest the time. That's the point. The whole point of spending money should be purely based on cosmetic items, and for those who don't want to wait. For those who don't want to put in the time and effort to unlock things. It should not give you a specific advantage based on the money you're willing to shell out just because it's exclusive to those who actually pay money. That should not be allowed, but that is the case. Whatever, it's a marketing technique. Technically, the devs and this publisher have the choice to do whatever the hell they want, and ultimately, it doesn't really affect the gameplay you're experiencing in Warface. So, the game is fun, it's simple, you can just jump into it, it's like 4 gigs, it's not even that big of a file to download. It's being played by a lot of people on Steam. It's actually one of the most popular games on there right now for some strange reason, even though Ghost Recon Phantoms is far superior in my opinion. Regardless, it's a decent title, and I'm gonna keep playing it because it's fun. It's a quick pick-me-up. You can jump in and have a blast. My name's PepperBelly. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.